Shalom and greetings from Jerusalem, Jane. Shabbat is almost around the corner, so I want to get this update out to all of you before then. Here is Yehudit. Her body was found inside the Gaza Strip yesterday by Israeli military. On that horrendous day, October 7, when Hamas brutally assaulted this entire nation and committed the worst massacre since the Second World War, Yehudit's husband was murdered, and she was held captive, taken into the Gaza Strip, and Hamas savagely murdered her. The same happened to this young, beautiful 19-year-old girl. She was a soldier. She was also kidnapped into the Gaza Strip. She was the soldier that Hamas released a propaganda video where you can see she is sitting talking inside the Gaza Strip. And then they cut to her dead body, and they sent that out on video. So 2 Israeli female hostages brutally murdered while they were held hostage inside the Gaza Strip. Where did they find them? Close to Shifa Hospital. The whole world has been screaming about Israel, the Israeli military being close to that hospital and also enter that hospital. Here's the thing. People inside Gaza has known for years that Hamas was using the hospitals as human shields, building the tunnels all throughout the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip is literally one of the biggest terrorist sites, terrorist nest in the whole world. And there is no way that organizations working inside the Gaza Strip, where Hamas is in control and runs everything, that these people didn't know that Hamas was in these hospitals. As a matter of fact, and this is quite powerful, the spokesperson for the Prime Minister's office, he was on a press conference. His name is Ayalon Levy. He said, because Israel was sharply condemning all of these international organizations inside Gaza for failing to act over the years as Hamas turned hospitals inside Gaza to terror bases. So he says, for too long, international agencies and officials have been complicit with Hamas' long-standing abuse of hospitals as human shields. We are demanding full accountability from them. What did you know? Why did you not say anything? Why did you continue to do propaganda for Hamas instead of doing your job? Now that is quite powerful. Among other things, of course, he's coming against the United Nations and UNRWA, who has, 13,000 people the United Nations has inside the Gaza Strip, which is absolutely ridiculous. And you can rest assured many of them are local workers from inside the Gaza Strip who is 100% supporting Hamas. So I still see, when I see press conferences from around the world, journalists, where is their focus? How long of a line is Israel going to get? They are asking different governments, how long are you going to support Israel, what they're doing inside the Gaza Strip, and Israel is not doing enough to protect innocent civilians. How about they were saying, wow, the whole world witnessed the massacre of the Jewish people, the brutal assault on the Jewish people, the rapes, the decapitation, the burning alive, atrocities that, we haven't even understood the full scope of it yet. It hasn't been, the full scope of it hasn't even been revealed yet. So how about journalists saying, this is what we saw, and now what is happening inside Gaza? Well, the Israeli military, well, if they were just out to get all the civilians, which is what you hear from the anti-Israel people, well, the Gaza Strip would have been flattened in 24 hours. How about journalists saying, wow, the Israeli military for 6 weeks has shown that, they know where these terrorists are. You can see the Israeli Air Force is pinpointing this house, this house, this house. We're bombing this and this and this and this and this. So they are going after all of these terrorists. And their terrorist tunnels, their launching pads, their networks, their training facilities, the weapon manufacturing sites. And then Israel ground forces go in, and now they see it firsthand. They are finding all of these tunnels. And where are these tunnels? Next to UNRWA schools, inside mosque, at amusement park, next to kindergartens. And Israel is documenting this on videos, on photos. They're sharing it out to the whole world. So how about journalists and governments around the world is focusing on that and saying, wow, now we begin to understand what a threat Hamas and Islamic Jihad is. Goodness gracious, they are living right across the fence from Israel. This is what they are. This is who they are. This is what they have done, turning the Gaza Strip into the biggest terrorist nest in the world, right on Israel's doorstep. So the Israeli military is out battling against taking out these terrorists, who is such a huge threat to Israel and committed all of these attacks, and who still holds more than 230 hostages, including a woman who gave birth, including a 10-month-old baby. That's where your focus could be. And say, you know what, and what did the Israeli military do? They told people for weeks, evacuate, evacuate, we are not at war with you. Evacuate, we are coming for Hamas. And they're telling hospitals, evacuate, evacuate. And what did Israel do when Hamas couldn't care less about the civilian population, using them as human shields? Couldn't care less about the newborn babies, because their propaganda machine works very well when there are dead babies inside Gaza. What did Israel do? Well, Israel brought in incubators. Israel brought in food. Israel brought in medical equipment. They brought in medical teams. They had soldiers who speak Arab, so they could talk to the people. They were helping. And yet, no, the world focus is still on the casualties inside the Gaza. You cannot trust that number, by the way, because those numbers come from Hamas. Today I saw something that just instantly gave me a headache, and that's because I was feeling fine, but when you're traumatized, something triggers it, and we are still getting testimony upon testimony upon testimony from people who survived that massacre. And they were talking to a young boy. He has probably been, 12, 13 years old, and he was saying, I was hiding in the bomb shelter with my sister and with my mom, and Hamas was in our house. We didn't know where Dad was. He was not with us. And Hamas was trying to get into the bomb shelter. They couldn't get in. So what did they do? They set the house on fire. That's what they did with many houses. They burned people alive. Some people decided, we would rather die alive than we would come out and be captive by Hamas and dragged into the Gaza Strip. Many people were burned alive. But at one point where they couldn't breathe anymore, this mom with her 2 children decided, we're going to leave the house. And by a miracle, they managed to escape out to a shack in the backyard, and they were hiding for many, many hours until the Israeli military came and rescued them. At that point, the father, he was severely injured, so he was brought to another house in that kibbutz, being treated by the father in that house because he was a medic. That family had just returned from abroad on Wednesday when this attack happened Saturday morning. And this particular young boy who now was being interviewed, he said, it was a miracle. It was a miracle that we survived. That was his word. It's just unbelievable. So I felt fine, but watching that, I had that headache that just exploded right here. Because when you carry trauma from all of this, 1 minute you're fine, and the next minute your whole body just shuts down, and there's not really a whole lot you can do about it. But then you saw how these children who had survived, they were taking to the beach and they were surfing, and then that gave them the sound of the waves, the water being out in the air. That just gave them that moment of relief from the hell and the horror that they had experienced. One thing that really brought a smile on my face was an interview with an American firefighter from Louisiana. And 60 American firefighters are right now here helping all over where they can. There's a waiting list for 100 American firefighters who want to come to Israel and help. So the interviewer is asking him and saying, why are you here? And he said, I'm a Christian. And he said, I'm tired of seeing all the hate towards Israel. So he actually left his wife and 4 children because he was like, I gotta do something. So he came here with 60 other firefighters, and they are helping and have been helping, especially around the Gaza Strip. So there are many areas where help is needed, especially in the farms down around the Gaza border, to pick avocados right now, and to pick red bell pepper, yellow bell pepper. So I have had people contacting me saying, Jane, we want to come and help, and I think that's amazing. And so they ask me what to do. I don't know, but I will try and look into it and see if I can find some organizations or something that you can connect with, and then they can work out all the detail with, I don't know how it works, but there is a lot of help that is needed. Thousands of foreign workers, especially from Asia, left when this whole thing happens. And by the way, there are several of those foreign workers from Asia, is it 11? I don't know how many it was, that is right now held captive inside the Gaza Strip. Overnight, the Israeli military was working in Jenin, around Jenin. It's a terrorist nest. They were there to arrest terrorists, and they are putting bombs, roadside bombs, under the roads. So if you see any videos and they're screaming about the Israeli military moved in and they came with machines and they took the asphalt away, well, that's because they are planting bombs. So they went in to neutralize a lot of these bombs, and they were again attacked by terrorists. So several terrorists was taken out, a terrorist was arrested, and again they found a lot of weapons. There was also a terror attack today near Hebron at a gas station, where 2 terrorists arrived in a car, and they jumped out and they started firing at Israeli soldiers who were stationed there. But thank goodness the soldiers didn't get injured, and they neutralized these terrorists. So things are very, very high alert. There are so many terrorists outside in Judea and Samaria. Did you know, I want to end this video by saying this. Again, if you thought for a second this was about a 2-state solution, you are sadly mistaken. I saw a poll on Israeli TV. Was it 84% of the Palestinian Arabs living in Judea and Samaria, they are in support of the massacre on Israel and the Jewish people on October 7, where they were burning baby, when they were cutting the heads of children, when they were burning children alive, when they were mass raping the women, torturing grandmothers. 84% of the Arabs living out in Judea and Samaria, they supported that. It has never, ever been about land. This is a deep, deep hate towards the Jewish people. There has been for so many years. Evil can have many faces, but it has the same father. So again, I cannot from my heart emphasize enough, stay focused. Stay focused. I also have people writing saying, I follow a couple of people, including you. I don't even watch mainstream media anymore. For those of you who do, stay focused. Stay focused to the facts and to the history and to the truth. And for all of you Christians, just open your Bible, because you are reading the history of Israel. Stay focused to that. Stay focused to the facts. This is the Holy Land. This is the land that God chose. He put his name down. This is his land. He gave it in an eternal covenant to the Jewish people. He did not give it and then he took it back because now they are occupying a Palestinian state. No, stay focused. Keep that in your head. I keep saying, if you don't know anything, if you are confused, if you hear Israel is doing this and they're occupying this, just stay focused and say, that's not what my Bible says. That's not what history says. This is a man-made idea. And this is about, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Look at the hate and that is coming against Israel in your streets and the demonstrations in your street where they are blatantly, flat out calling for the murder of the Jewish people. So Israel is home. This is the only Jewish state in the world. the only Jewish state in the world. They have this place that God gave to them. And now, after all the things, the persecutions, that they have been hunted, persecuted, and killed down through history to try and eradicate the Jewish people, it's still coming against them today when they are home and prophecies are being fulfilled in their God-given homelands. So for such a time as this, I cannot stay quiet. You cannot stay quiet. We didn't live through the Holocaust, but we are living today and we know the facts. So it is our responsibility to speak it out, to share it out. Okay? Please don't stay quiet. The other side is, it's just so evil what we see every day. I gotta run. I need to go out and do some shopping before Shabbat. Please pray for all the men and women in uniform on the northern border with Hezbollah, on the southern border with Gaza, and all the people out in Judea and Samaria who is standing guard, protecting us. Pray for a peaceful Shabbat. Again, imagine all of the soldiers who would rather be home with their families, but they have to be out on guard, protecting the Jews' homeland for such a time as this. Shabbat Shalom. Bye.